Builders for Christ component team needs a set of PDF files printed out for them, and the cut team will need a cut list in order to be able to produce the components necessary for the component team to build up the headers for doors and windows. All this information here is compiled starting with the plans. This is A151 architectural plan here for this drawing. And if we look at it, it has all the information we need for the length of the walls, type of walls, etc. And working through this, we can put together a labeled copy of this A151. And this is done in such a manner as to where the labeling here is color-coded to make it easier to identify the walls and to make sure that all the walls have been accounted for. So basically the blue walls here are going to be 2x8 walls, and the green walls will be 2x6 walls, and the yellow walls will be 2x4. Then we have other colors if we had 2x12, which we have had on occasion, or 2x10. In this case, 2x8 is the largest wall we'll have. So if we take a look at this, let's take in this particular wall here, UC1SW, it's blue. It's the first 2x8 wall that in the list here. And the SW is for shear wall. That same information is gained from the plan by looking up the F2S tag here, which would indicate a 2x8 wall that's a shear wall. So this is just a naming convention that makes it easier for us to enter into the program later on and keep track of. So again, U would be for the upper level here. This happens to be a 2 level. We have a lower level, which would be an L. And then we'll also have mezzanines, which would be an M, and we'll see those naming conventions as they come along. So if we look at this wall, we can identify it at this point early on, and we'll come up with a length for that wall. And that length is used to determine the number of studs. And then also by looking at the plan, we can determine the height of the wall. The UC2 wall over here, see it. And then towards the front here, we're back up to UC6 here. So there's a number of walls labeled in here. They're all the blue ones, and they should have a U and a C and a number and whether they're a shear wall or not. So we gather up this information and catalog all these walls eventually to enter them into the program. So the program here, if we look just at the UC walls, here's the UC1 and 2. It's a 2x8 wall. We have a wall length of 60, and we have a wall height of 20 feet 4 inches. Plate thickness of 4.5, which would be 2 top plates and a single bottom plate. That yields a stud length of 239.5. So essentially we just put in what we know and the calculations are done here. This particular wall here, it's got a 3070 door who's labeled as D125 ACL. We'll look at doors specifically later. But let's take a look at UC2 with no doors, UC3. It's indicated that it has an LVL beam in it. Deal with that later. And here's UC5 SW. Notice it's a much shorter wall here, and we'll get to that. So most of these are the 20-foot high bearing walls for the trusses. And again, here's a UC5 SW. It's only 6 feet, 11 and a half inches here. Again, we'll get to those later. And this particular wall, 14 feet, 7.5 inches. And it's got a couple of storefront windows. W indicating window, and SF storefront 2 and 3. These go in the front of the building. So the objective here again is to identify these walls from the plan and enter them into the program here. And eventually with the other information, the hope is to produce a list of all the windows, and windows are grouped up within header groups. We'll look at that eventually. We can derive the plates needed, individual doors, door header groups, and then the cut list there. So that's our objective, and what we're going to do is we're going to work through this piecemeal and try to understand how the process works and then how the information is entered in the program. This is just an overview to get us started here.